Good morning, my friends. It is a good morning, but it is also a very, very hot morning. We're in the second heat wave of this season. We already had like a 3-4 day heat wave in May. Now we're at the start of June, and it is cooking. It is super early in the morning right now. It is like about 7:15 right now, I believe. And like, man, it is too hot already. So let's talk about what to do with your dogs in the heat of the summer, because, hey, you don't have to believe in climate change, but the heat waves are coming in earlier, lasting longer, so whether you believe in it or not, it seems to be happening. I don't remember these kinds of brutal long heat waves when I was a kid. Maybe I'm wrong. But on with the show. So first thing to pay attention to are surfaces. Be careful. Like, the sidewalk should be fine. An old road like this that is light colored should be fine. But watch out for the darker asphalt. Like when you get into like newer asphalt like this, or a brand new road that's really dark, that surface is going to be so much hotter than you could imagine. And you run the risk of frying up your dog's little paws. Their little pads will burn if it's too hot. So be very careful about what you're taking your dog over. If there was like a new patch of pavement, I would just walk the dogs around it so that they're safe and they don't get torched up on their little paws. Also, if you just think about it this way, the heat level close to the ground on a really dark road is just going to be brutal. So not only is the surface temperature itself really hot, but just having them that close to the blacktop is really going to be a lot hotter on them than if you had them on the sidewalk or something like that. The biggest thing that you could do, I suppose, would be to keep them out of the heat of the day if you can, right? Like if your schedule allows it, walk them early in the morning, walk them later at night, and try and keep them out of the heat of the day unless you're taking them out to go to the bathroom or something. What we do during the day usually, if it's this hot, is like if I don't have lessons and I don't have to go out, then we'll walk the dogs in the morning, walk them later in the evening, and throughout the day we'll just let them run and play in the yard. And I get the hose out, and they don't mind kind of getting sprayed down by the hose and running around, so we can keep them cool that way in our yard, and then just give them shorter exposures to just get some energy out throughout the day, but to also make sure they stay cool enough. Before I left for my walk this morning, so Chickpea is a bulldog, brachycephalic, meaning that pushed in face, and the brachycephalic dogs do not do super well in the heat at all. They can overheat very quickly. So let me show you a little clip while I chat to you. So on really hot days, I'll carry like a day pack with a spray bottle. And I fill that spray bottle up with some water. I can spray the dogs down and soak them up, as I'm doing here with Chickpea. So I got her nice and wet before our walk so that she stays cool, and she'll probably dry out, and just before I get home she'll be dry, but that should buy me some extra time to keep her cool, because as we're out, that water is going to evaporate and draw some heat out with it and keep her cool. So when we go on walks, I just bring that spray bottle and then a dog bowl, and basically I can fill up their dog bowl from the spray bottle and then also use the spray bottle to soak them down. If we so I don't have to carry too much water. We'll basically stop a couple times while we're out. One of us will mask up, go into a convenience store, grab a big bottle of water. We can top up our waters, top up the dog bowl, spray them down, and keep them cool that way. So that's one of the things we do when we're out. I don't have the luxury all the time of just keeping the dogs out of the heat, because like today I've got lessons starting at 1:30 and it's supposed to be 37 degrees today. Over 40 and I'm going to reach out to my clients and cancel, but I think even in the 30s it's manageable if we do it smartly. So shade is also going to be your friend. So basically what I do with my clients is we just find a shady spot near their house, like in front of the street or on the sidewalk or in their backyard, somewhere shady where we can at least work, and it's probably going to be, 10 degrees cooler maybe in the shade, and at least you don't have that sun beating down on you. So finding some shade, like if we're out for a big long walk with the dogs, about every 15 minutes we'll find a shady spot and just give the dogs a quick break in the shade and let them cool down. If you're out during the day with your dogs, the key is going to be keeping them from getting overheated. Once they're overheated, there's really nothing you're going to do except get them quickly into a cooled space. So the goal through, keeping them wet with some water and keeping them in the shade periodically is to keep them at a baseline where they never reach a point of being overheated. Chickpea got overheated, I think it was the first year and a half in around there that I had her, and I was out for a walk before I went to work at the dog school that night. This is when I was working in Niagara Falls at the dog school, apprenticing there. And we were out for a short while, a colleague and myself and our dogs, and I brought lots of water for the dogs. Hey, good boy, Ollie. And we just basically ran out of water about 20 minutes before we got back to the dog school, and Chickpea got overheated to the point where, I had to take her to the vet. I had to leave the school that night and take her to the vet, and they cooled her down there. Now, crucial point, if your dog does become overheated, do not try and cool them down too quickly. If you dump a bucket of ice on a dog that is overheated, you're probably going to shock their system. You could kill them. This is serious. Do not. You have to cool them down slowly, like some cool water, but don't. Ice water is just going to be a shock to the system. They're not going to handle it. You're going to make things much worse. So keeping them cool is the key. Keeping them wet throughout a hot day will help a lot. Just trying to keep them out of the heat, or if you are out in the heat, give them frequent breaks in the shade. Make sure you bring lots of water, give them lots to drink, soak them down throughout the day. But the little spray bottle trick has certainly been a huge help for us. And essentially my dogs are just soaked all day at lessons. So my clients will tell you, oh yeah, here come the wet dogs. But it helps them. It keeps them nice and cool throughout the day, and I can still get through these lessons. Otherwise, what would I do? Am I not going to train all summer? I can't just book appointments in the early morning and late at night. That doesn't work. The only way to get through this summer is to manage the heat with the dogs and just deal with it as best as I can. In between my lessons, I get them into the van, we turn on the AC, and we keep them cool that way in between lessons, so they're only getting these exposures every other hour. They're getting exposed to the heat for a while, and then I get them cool. And it's a tough day, man. Taking care of the dogs in the heat is a tough thing, but that's our job as our dogs' owners. Our job is to take care of them, make sure they're safe, and the heat can be a real problem. Some dogs do a little bit better, some dogs don't do well in the heat, but all dogs need to sort of have some protection against the heat. So just be smart if you're taking your dogs out over the next little while, over the rest of the summer in the heat waves, and bring lots of water for your dogs, and you can keep them soaked down. We've tried some products in the past, like those cooling beds. My parents had got us cooling mats for Chickpea and Penny back before we had Ollie, and all I found was the mats ended up really warm. So I don't know if it's absorbing heat from the dog, but it certainly wasn't producing any coolness. So I didn't find that worked. Also, we've tried cooling bandanas. I don't know. I don't have any proof. I didn't do any scientific research on them. I don't know if they're helping, but I don't feel like they helped a lot. I feel like just keeping the dogs wet was the biggest aid in keeping them cool in the heat. So anyway, I'm going to get these guys home, and then I'm going to take them over the yard today and play around with them in the sunshine with the hose, and they'll love that. But in the meantime, you keep yourself cool and keep the dogs cool out here in the scorching temperatures of the summer. And I will see you in the next video.